This morning we are very grateful to have Venerable Dhammadipa with us. Born in 1949, he has a wealth of knowledge and experience about Buddhist practice and teaching. He has studied Chinese literature and philosophy, Russian literature, and the texts of the great Buddhist traditions. Over the years, Venerable has presented Dharma teachings and led meditation retreats around the world. He also reads and translates Buddhist texts from Pali and Sanskrit. Among his translated works in Czech are the treatises on the awakening of faith in the Mahayana, typically attributed to Ashvaghosha, and Shantideva's entry into the Bodhisattva path. His teachings in Taiwan have been compiled and printed in Chinese. Today we are going to discuss his social projects, chief among them the Buddhist Education Project in Sakarwadi, India. The aim of this initiative is to support the Buddhist community in Sakarwadi with their religious practice and provide practical training related to their daily lives, such as hygiene, languages, health, and IT, and to help them improve the quality of their community lives. So, thank you so much, Venerable, for joining us this morning. Let's talk about how this project started. How was this project conceived, and why did you specifically choose this location?
Well, while staying in India, I was invited to teach some short courses at the Somaya University in Mumbai. And the Somaya University was sponsored by the Somaya family, which has been involved in welfare in India for 3 generations. The grandfather of the present owner of the company was a follower of and supporter of Mahatma Gandhi, and during his grandfather, father, and the present owner of the company, they continue to be concerned with the social welfare. So they established hospitals and schools, and also the university I have mentioned. Now, it happened that I met the present owner of the company and became quite friendly with him. And I told him about my experience of searching for social activities in Bihar, where I studied, and where I also tried before to establish a center, but faced many difficulties. So my project did not really succeed.
This was before?
This was before.
And that was...
So the Samir Somaya, he has proposed to me to see the factory in Sakarwadi, where the present center has been established.
I see.
And he mentioned that 80% of the workers there belong to the Buddhist community.
80%.
And so I went there and saw the place and saw the conditions there, and I became very interested. And he said that if I'm interested, he can offer me the land adjacent to the factory. So I accepted and donated some Buddha statue to the leaders of the community, and parted with the intention of building a center there.
Right.
And Samir Somaya said that at present his company is not doing well, so he can't support me financially, but if the project is established, he in the finishing stage is going to help also.
But he still donated the plot of land.
He donated the plot of land.
Right.
So I tried my best to collect funds while teaching different courses and telling about the project to different people, among others also in Hong Kong, where I got a lot of support, also in Taiwan and also in Europe.
Very good.
And step by step, I have collected the funds necessary for establishing the center, and the construction was started. And the design of the center was made by a friend of Samir Somaya,
Right.
who is one of the leading architects of Mumbai. And it is kind of ecologically designed.
Ecologically designed, so environmentally
it means
friendly.
Environmentally friendly with local materials,
Right.
Ecological materials.
And so the actual building of the center, I see, was only recently completed on January 7th specifically.
That's right.
So to my knowledge, it's actually taken quite a long time.
It took about 4 years.
4 years,
3
because the project was started in 2012, around that
around
time.
that, yes.
So was it quite hard to complete these constructions? Did you face any kind of obstacles?
Of course, many obstacles. First of all, the community in Sakarwadi, they mostly uneducated people. So I had personal contact with the leaders of the community, with whom I became on very friendly terms and who have been supporting me greatly in my intention. And I step by step went from family to get acquaintance with the community and meeting their children, also asking about their needs. And so in this way I felt I became kind of a part of the community. They accepted me very well. And I saw in the surrounding villages also there are many Buddhists, but they don't have any temple, any place of worship actually, but they are Buddhists.
So this project has many dimensions and activities, as you've alluded to. There are quite a few needs that the community needs to...
Actually, the reason why Samir Somaya asked me to do the project is because these people belonging to the Buddhist community, they are mostly so-called untouchables.
Untouchables, right.
So they have been converted to Buddhism in the 1950s by Dr. Ambedkar, who himself converted to Buddhism. And because he was one of the leading politicians of India at the time, these untouchables, they followed him by millions. But he died very early, and so they became Buddhists, but they really do not know much about Buddhism.
They didn't have a leader, they didn't have teachers.
They don't have any education base even. Then in the factory, because they were kind of oppressed minority, there are many social problems. They don't keep the security measures, so there are accidents in the factory. Many of them are alcoholics.
I see.
There is a prostitution problem also.
Are there cases of prostitution, drug abuse, all these?
I do not know about drug abuse.
I see. Okay.
They would not probably tell me, but the alcoholism is very prominent.
Right.
And so since these people are Buddhists, and 80% of the workers are Buddhist, and he has intention to help them, so I was kind of a suitable person, because not belonging to any caste, in particular, being outsiders and knowing to some extent the language. So these people have confidence in me.
So construction has only finished. So it might be a bit premature to ask, but how do you structure your center's programs? Because I've already seen on Facebook, the children, some of the children doing qigong, women helping with the construction and design. So how do you plan out what the centers are?
Well, in my absence, we have founded a committee of the working committee and the honorary members of the committee. The working committee is mostly composed of local people who will take care of the center in my absence, and also the Pune University and Mumbai University, where I have taught. The members of the staff, they are willing to go to teach there regularly. Also the graduate students, to teach them different classes on Buddhism. And my second aspect of training is to give them some vocational training. Because in that locality, most of these people are unemployed. There is very high rate of unemployment because they have no qualification. So my plan for the future is to find suitable masters of some trade who can teach them something like making cushions or making some art objects. I have also connection with some social organizations in India which are engaged in that work. They also promised me to help, to go to teach as volunteers in that center. So artists and also people like carpenters.
Carpenters. So it's really an all-round program designed for the untouchable Buddhists of this locality, Sakarwadi. So, as you mentioned, it's an all-round program. Health and hygiene are a given. But
health and hygiene condition in among these people are, of course, very bad. They live, many of them live in primitive huts with no water supply, so they have to go for water for a long distance.
They go typically, they take water out of the wells.
In the Indian way, there is a pot on their head. They can sometimes walk for a very long distance to get water. And so I also hope this I will find people who can do something to improve the situation. The drought, especially this year, was a drought year. And
there was a drought, right.
And it is a big problem in the area because
there's not enough water.
It is near a river which always dries up, and the water supply is lacking, so the government supplies water, say, from this time of the year as early as now until the monsoon time. There is great shortage of water.
Right. And not only is there a lack of water, there's also, I'm assuming, but is there not much knowledge about sanitation, hygiene?
Of course,
those
living
things. So there's those disease and
conditions.
bacteria can spread very easily in the community.
It is indeed so, but these people are very strong. So I think if most of us lived in the conditions they live, we would all be sick, but they are not sick.
They're not sick, no.
Nowadays, in the modern society, and India is becoming slowly a modern society, in some aspects very fast. This for the local people, possibly the best means to get a job would be to teach them this the computer skill and so on. So I was in contact with the former head of the Taipei office in Prague, in Czech Republic, and he mentioned he will try to get the donation of some computers from computer companies in Taiwan. But it is not so easy because you need many things to install computers. It is not just the computer, you need many other things. I was not aware of that, but it is much more complicated than I thought.
So now that the center has been established, what's the next step? Where do you see this project headed?
Well, the most important aspect of the project is education. That's why it is called the Education Project. So during my absence, and I may go every year there, but I can only go for a couple of months because I have my own engagements. So I will also teach in the future, especially the practical part of Buddhism. If they really want to become Buddhist and they have great faith because they have suffered a lot, they should learn also meditation and practice.
So you plan to teach them meditation?
I plan to teach them meditation and some basic Buddhist principles and some sutras also.
I see. And you've mentioned two committees, a working committee and an honorary committee. I think, is it the honorary committee that Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche and Venerable Hin Hong are on? Or?
Yes, it is so.
So I saw them, and can you do you mind telling us a bit about what you discussed with them at the beginning of the project and what convinced them to join the project? And moreover, what did they hope to bring to the table? Khyentse
Rinpoche and Hin Hong, I mentioned to them my activities in India, and they became very interested. Especially Khyentse Rinpoche, who is especially interested in promoting Buddhism in India.
Yes.
But because he is very busy, he said he would go personally, but because he is very busy, having so many things to do.
Yes.
So he will, if he does not go personally, he will definitely help me in the future to send some qualified lamas also to teach there.
Very good.
And as far as Hin Hong is concerned, I also hope that these people can know also about the greatness of Buddhism through making experience of different traditions and different concepts. So I hope also some Chinese teachers I may invite.
Perhaps there might be some chances for teachers in Hong Kong or Taipei.
Yes, sure. It is my intention.
So thank you so much, Venerable, for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.